I'm Rachel.
I'm Julia.
Where we live in faith every day.
This is Life.
Welcome to Life.
Hey guys.
This is going to be an interesting question. Okay. Well, I don't know if it's is it a question or is it a dilemma? I guess it could be a dilemma. Okay. Anyways, let me explain. I'm trying to figure out if this is a question or a dilemma.
Sure.
Okay, so within our churches, right, I've seen quite an array of different ways people come to church. I think on the East Coast, it can be a little bit more on the conservative side, right? Whereas on the West Coast, it's more on the very liberal side. So like, in our denomination, right, we like to eat healthy and clean diets. We like to dress kind of nicely because we're coming in the presence of God, right? And we want to keep it holy and keep it very reverend sort of thing. Whereas on the west side, they don't really care much about any of those. So they'll come to church dressed in like a tank top, shorts, and flip-flops. They'll eat like whatever they want to. They'll cater food.
I think they disregard like everything, like some of those like things.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have that end of the spectrum, and then we have this end of the spectrum, right? And so the question kind of came about within our meetings, is that freedom of choice and freedom of will is important, right? But how do you find that balance between providing freedom of choice and freedom of will while being able to keep certain of those standards high? And this is not an easy question. I get it.
It's not. I think,
and that's why I think I wanted to bring it up.
There's no answer, but I realize kind of I guess works. Okay, this is just my personal experience, but when like our youth was kind of small, or like we're starting to get like new members and stuff like that, like the kids didn't care much. They stopped dressing up. They like don't care. They just come to church, just for either the activities or it's just sermon, just whatever, or they'll come from other different churches and be like, wow, this is how they dress, so why can't I dress like this here? Mm-hmm. And that was actually one of the big problems, dress code, right? Yeah. They weren't dressing appropriately, and it's not that. I guess for me, since I grew up always like dressing up to church, it did bother me a little bit, but I didn't like. It wasn't something where I would be like shaming them for it, Right. I'll be like, hey, maybe you should consider dressing up, or like, But I realized that kind of touches their boundaries a little bit, right? So
it can.
So they got a little bit like they'll get a little bit like, don't tell me what to do, or it'll be a turn off for them from church or attending our church, right? So I think one of the biggest things that actually worked was when the leaders or like some of the kids are like super active in church and like kids really like them, right? When they're reverend, when they're like dressed up, when they're being a role model basically, someone that you look up to. Like I realize the kids, they will change on their own. They'll like, they would want to dress up. They want to like, I want to be like them. I want to dress nice because it's church. Why would you dress nice? And then, to take pride in it. And then they kind of understand, I should dress this because it's church, and because I'm in the presence of God.
Or at least like dress the best.
Yeah, the best you can. Mm-hmm. And I tell that to kids. Their kids are like, oh well, I don't have. Lately I see kids kind of like slacking off. But I know they have, because they've been dressing
decent
right?
clothes. Yeah.
I'd be like, why aren't you like, what's up? What's going on? And they're like, I don't have clothes. I'm like, that's a lie. You can't tell me that. You've been dressing up. And they're like, well, I don't know, I just haven't been feeling. I'm like, that's your choice. But you know,
Would you want to dress like that?
would you? Yeah, it's
Like going out on a date?
yeah.
You know?
Don't
Like,
you want to look nice? Don't you want to, you know? But if you give them the choice, they kind of like they'll want to. I think if you give them an opportunity.
I think also not just an opportunity, but also kind of like giving them an education on it and how you kind of portray it. You know what I mean? Like, kind of giving them like not just an opportunity, but then with the opportunity, a education on it. Like, what are the reasons that, you know, why we dress a certain way, or why it's important, or, you know, like why we do things a certain way. You know, like, you know, we are in the presence of God. Think of it like this.
I
Wouldn't
think-
you want to, you know,
Education is super important, but they're gonna have to want education, you know? Because even for me, right? I didn't really like. Yeah, I knew that we would dress up and stuff, but like, when nowadays in 2019, right, the 21st century, dressing up means a lot of things, right? For girls, it can mean really short dresses, you know, mini skirts, or like even like, you know, just
there's no such thing as modesty.
earrings.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like, oh, just I'm dressed up. What's the problem, right? And I used to be like one of those who wear very short dresses, or like I wouldn't care. I would wear short dresses and like big heels, right?
Yeah.
But then, as I was studying, as I was getting my relationship was getting closer, like my relationship with God was getting stronger, and seeing some people that are super close to God, right? I put two and two together, and I'm like, well, now I'm curious, or I want to be educated about this. So I'll be like, well, then I do want to wear longer dresses. I do, and I'll be like, you know what? Actually, it kind of looks good. I think I appreciate this a little bit more. It keeps me a little bit more covered up and
Modest.
It's, you know,
Everything that needs to be covered is covered.
it's I don't know, but stuff like that, you know, it's a willing or wanting to understand, or
But I feel like some people who do come to church, they don't even know it either. It's like they weren't taught it that way. They were just like, oh, I'm comfortable. What's wrong with that? You know? Like that sort of thing. So they're not really taught well within the churches either. So the education is missing, the role model's missing, the standards are missing, all of that is missing.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I think for me, it's like,
I think it's like a combination of like a bunch of different things. And like you said, if it's not top down, because I've seen quite a few pastors and ministers and leaders who come to church with a jean and a t-shirt and tennis shoes.
yeah. I've also seen adults on stage with sandals, jeans, a button-down shirt, and like not even like a nice button-down shirt,
Like a
those,
polar, yeah.
like casual, like button-down, like you know, something that looks kind of
Just like a regular t-shirt.
yeah. It's just,
I mean, I get it if they can afford it.
I mean,
You know?
it's not even
I get
that
that.
though. But I'm saying,
It's like top down isn't working, surrounding it isn't working. And so how can you teach them or guide them in the right direction if none of those factors are there? But the education is missing, the role model's missing, the, you know, like all of that is missing. All of it is missing.
for me, I think dress code and all those conservativeness is important. For me, I think dress code is important. Like, I don't mind after service, like during potluck, you can change. Go ahead, change. If you're comfortable, do what you want. But during service, I think it just shows a lot of reverence. It does. Like, it's a special moment, I think. Make it look good, pretty, like for like 3 hours, you know? Why not? You look nice. But especially adults, that really bothers me when they don't do it. Because then the kids can be like, well,
They're not doing
they're
it.
not doing it. Like, and I'm just like,
don't have to do it.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of a bother to change afterwards and stuff. And I'm like, really?
Honestly, let's put a significant other right in front of you that you're dating. I don't care for girls. I don't care how painful those shoes are. I can guarantee you that they're gonna have those heels on the entire date night and date day. And I can almost guarantee you that a guy, I don't care how uncomfortable that tux is, they're gonna wear it all day for that date. So if you can do that for someone that you care about, especially, why can't you do that for God?
Right.
So
I mean, again, it's not like, I think that's just like a preference also. Like, you know, if it's sick, I mean, we should be doing our best, right? Best state. But if it was like, I don't know, a third world country, or like, you know, this church, like they're just being developed and they just all come in, like, but even then, right? I've seen a lot of churches, even though they don't dress up,
they try to dress as like
they'll dress clean, like
or the
like,
best that they can.
nice jeans, like maybe collared shirt, you know, at the least, not like gym shorts and like a ripped t-shirt. Like we're seeing some unnecessary dress codes. If it was like a nice jean with a nice shirt on, like I'll be like, you know what, that's okay.
Yeah.
You did your best, you know?
If that's the best, then I think it's the intent of the heart.
It really is, you know, it's like, as long as it looks clean, to me, it doesn't really bother me. Like, even when I go to other churches, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Like, at least you're not, like, literally wearing, like, basketball shorts. I think that just...
I've seen that.
It's, yeah.
It's
I've seen
not a
it.
pretty sight.
I also see it in kids, you know, especially in
Yeah.
our church, too. And I'm like, what? They
Hello?
used to dress up. Or, like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
You know?
I've also seen the exact opposite too, where people judge you for not dressing well.
I mean,
you know?
it...
So I've seen the
I'm
exact
guilty of it.
opposite. Yeah, as a person that dressed properly, or like, you know, we meet someone for the first time and they don't have like the visual, the ideal dress that we think of, and then we're just like, what in the world are they wearing, right? And then come to find out they're like super poor, or you know, they just got off the streets, or you know, they just became clean, or you know, like these things, or they just became an SDA, or they just became a Christian, or they just started coming to church and just didn't know how to dress appropriately. You know, I would get those kind of things, you know, I would understand that. So I feel like there's like the polar opposite again about the same issue, right? But then the question is, how do you help teach kids and guide kids so that they're not 100%, they're not judging others, but also kind of wanting to like up their standards for God, instead of being like, oh, it's freedom of choice, so, and freedom of will, so if I don't want to dress up, then I don't think I should have to, right? So you're either, again, all in or all out, right? Are you willing to, you know, put in the effort? And if you do come to church, then you do come to, when you do come to church, put an effort into it. If you don't want to come to church, then don't come at all. Because if it is half and half, that's the whole lukewarm that we're talking about, right? I don't want to go to church, right? Okay, then why are you here? Because my parents, okay, I get that, right? But how do we make it so that even the kids who are coming to church because their parents are making them feel like it's a safe place for them and want to change for the better, instead of having to change for the better? And I think it starts with the members and the leaders. Just because, you know, you're at like your mom and dad make you, I don't know, go to, I don't know, like play date or something, right? You can make it however you want to. Just because you go on a play date doesn't mean that you have to play, or make friends. It's like what you make of it. And sometimes you're in a certain situation where you don't have much of a choice, but you can make however you want to make of it while you're in that situation.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's the same way when it comes to churches, or when we have kids that come to church but are kind of forced to, or because they have to because their parents are here. But then it doesn't mean that they can't have a good time,
Right.
or they can't meet people and leaders who help them feel safe and comfortable and maybe provide what their parents were not able to provide for these kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if that is provided, then I think they would want to change for the better, not by forcing it, or like join the standard lines, or doing those such things, but kind of like helping them be like, hey, I want to dress nicely, or hey, I don't want to cuss, or hey, I don't want to have a bad attitude because I'm having fun, or it's safe here. But I feel like if that were to happen, then the environment itself need to change first. I mean, for both of us, we learn to create relationships with the kids, and with it, working with them individually and creating that safe space and that safe environment for them. And then, they kind of want to do what's right. They already know,
That's great.
yeah, to a certain extent, what's right and what's not okay. And so I think once you provide that safe environment and that safe space, then they will naturally start, interacting those things, implementing those things.
So if you guys like this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up and or hit the like button. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button.
And hit the bell for notifications of videos like this. And till next time, bye guys!